The review serves two purposes. One is our defense posture. What equipment do we need? What training must we focus on? I think since we've events in the Eastern Europe and what's happening with Russia, far more aggressive than we've seen in the last decade, it's absolutely right that the integrated review provides that. But ultimately, it's all about how we look after our armed forces. They don't spend all the time on the front line. A lot of the time, they're spending in garrisons and so forth and operating from home. Now, they're going to be affected by the same issues that everybody else will be affected: rising costs in fuel, rising costs in food, and so forth. They don't have the ability to go out on strike, so it's up to us to make the case for them to say their pay must increase. Not only that, but the budget itself for our armed forces, all those tanks, all those vehicles, and so forth, require their own fuel. So the cost to the MOD will go up because of that. There are inflationary concerns that the Treasury needs to recognize that if we want to have a capable fighting force, then we do need to increase the defense budget. And that's aside from the fact that our world is getting more dangerous, not less. And if you want Britain to have a responsible, capable hard power, you need to invest in it. Best case scenario clearly would be moving towards 3% GDP. I just remind you that during the Cold War, we were up to 4% GDP, and our world is more dangerous than that. We're in a queue with other departments, wanting to increase their budgets as well. But I won't stop saying the connection between the importance of having hard power, utility to be able to convene other nations to, follow us as well, to stand up to aggressors, and the consequence that will happen if we don't to our economy. And look what we're doing in Ukraine. I go to Salisbury Plain and I see the training taking place. I would just come back from Odessa as well. Huge appreciation for the gifting of military equipment and the training that we are providing Ukraine. But that costs money. That's again coming out of defense expenditure. And then, of course, we have in the Navy, we've got the new Type 26s coming on board. They've been slightly delayed. We can't see shortcuts being made to, let's say, Type 23s being removed from service before these Type 26s are brought in. So many aspects of why it's so important to make sure we invest in defense. If you dare to bring back, draw back on your defense spending, your economy actually suffers. We actually reduce our defense spending at our economic peril. Ukraine and that Odessa port is a great example. Why haven't we done more to get those grain ships out? Just 1/5 of the grain is getting out. Now, if that was to go up to what it was prior to the invasion, that would actually tackle inflation here in the country. That's a utility of our hard power if we're politically strong enough to make the decision to go and stand up to the Russians. Why is Russia determining the grain deal in Ukraine? They're the bully. It's territorial waters and international waters, nothing to do with Russia. That's a great example of how Britain can lead. We have to protect our assets around us, our interests around us. Look what happened to Nord Stream 1 and the impact that had on gas prices. What would happen if one of those interconnectors coming to the UK from Norway, for example, were to be sabotaged and blown up? People would have straight away look at the Navy and say, why aren't you defending what's important to us? That's how it illustrates what Russia is doing, moving away from the battlefield where he's losing to the wider economy, not just in Ukraine where he's hitting infrastructure, but also hitting infrastructure across Europe as well. That, for me, is where the battle's going, and we need to be ready for it.